What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheese podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto, no gimmicks, only the real. And this is episode 68. Now, y'all know what I need from y'all. I need y'all to continue to smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 400 subscribers. Also, I need y'all to like and share the content when it drop. And let's keep this thing turning up, man. Hopefully, I can hit 400 subscribers before the year is out. I don't know. We at 334 right now. So let's see if I can get myself, or if y'all can help me get to 400 subscribers before the year is out, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me each and every week. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. Had to, get myself together first. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. So, we're going to start with the NFL, and we got to start with what has been arguably the biggest topic coming out of this past Sunday, which was the situation that happened down in Pittsburgh with Jamarrchase and Jalen Ramsey. I'm sorry, my bad, Jalen. Had to get it together. Oh, let me start over. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheese podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto, no gimmicks, only the real. And this is episode 68. Now, y'all know what I need from y'all. Continue to smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 400 subscribers. We trying to get there before the year is out. If God's willing, you know what I'm saying? Y'all keep supporting me, keep helping me, keep smashing that subscribe button. And also, do not forget to like this video and share the content when it drops. And let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. So first, we're going to start with the NFL. And we got to start off with what has been the most talked about topic since Sunday, I feel like, and that is what happened down in Pittsburgh with wide receiver Jamarrchase and DB Jalen Ramsey. I don't know why I just said all that. Y'all know who they are, you know what I'm saying? But we got to talk about that, man, because that whole situation was crazy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to go ahead and break it down for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Sunday, you had the Cincinnatibengals on the road versus the Pittsburghsteelers. We know that division rivalry. We know how that division gets when those teams play each other. Long story short, some words may have been exchanged, and Jamarrchase ended up spitting on Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey ended up throwing a punch, was ejected from the ball game. You know what I'm saying? And afterwards, Jalen Ramsey basically told his side of the story. Jamarrchase came back and, said his side. Come to find out, Jamarrchase was lying about his side. He did end up spitting on Jalen Ramsey, which caused the whole altercation, and, things led from there. Now, Jamarrchase has been suspended for one game. So I'm going to read these notes and things that I wrote down, and then I'm going to touch on my thoughts and, what I think about the whole situation. So with roughly 13 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter of Pittsburgh's 34-12 win, cornerback Jalen Ramsey and Bengals wide receiver Jamarrchase got into it. Chase spit on Ramsey, and Ramsey punched him in retaliation. Officials missed the spit that led to the punch. They ejected Ramsey while Chase was allowed to remain in the game. CBS broadcast video clearly showing that Ramsey punched Chase, but not catching evidence of Chase spit. But video from the on-field emerged post-game that clearly shows Chase spitting on Ramsey. Ramsey immediately retaliated with the punch. Before the video evidence emerged, Ramsey told reporters that Chase spit on him. He spit on me, so it's up, Ramsey said. I don't give a F about football after that, respectfully. Chase told reporters after the game that he did not. I ain't never opened my mouth to that guy. Chase said when asked if he spit on Ramsey. I didn't spit on nobody. Chase instead characterized the lead up to Ramsey's punch as exchanging words. He don't like some of the stories I told him, Chase said. We've been going back and forth the whole time, so I'm straight. Something got under his skin. An NFL spokesman said after the game that the league would look further into the incident. Game referee Bill Vinovic, meanwhile, told pool reporter Brian Baca that officials did not see Chase spit on Ramsey. No, obviously we did not, Vinovic said. We did not see anything that rose to that level at all. Jamarrchase, as I just said, has now been suspended for one game. So my thoughts on that whole situation is Jamarrchase was completely out of line. At the end of the day, you don't spit on a grown man. You don't spit on nobody, period. you spit on the ground. If you spit on somebody, that means that you are basically showing them you have no respect for them whatsoever. Whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what was said between the lines. And I know Jalen Ramsey is one of those type of players. He gets fired up. He like to talk. But I don't feel like there was nothing that Jalen Ramsey could have said to that level that would make you spit on this man. You know what I'm saying? Want to spit on him. And then I think what makes matters even worse about the whole situation is that you lied about it. If you were willing to spit on another grown man, be man enough to own up to what you did. For you to sit in reporter's face and lie and say that you didn't spit on him, you never opened your mouth, or whatever the case may be, and then for the video evidence to show that you're lying, I mean, that's kind of like, that's distasteful. And Jamarrchase, I feel like for you to be the type of person that you are, for you to be such a role model, you have kids out here that look up to you, people out here that love you and look up to you and support you. For you to sit there and do something like that, I think that kind of throws, that kind of, it just makes you look bad as a person. It just makes you look bad as a person. And you have people that watch you, and you don't want people out here doing the same thing that they see you doing. We live in a world now where everything is recorded. Everything can be seen. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want young kids watching you who may look up to you replicating the things that they see you do. If my favorite wide receiver and it's not your job to raise kids. First of all, let me throw that out there. It's not your job to be a role model. Let me throw that out there. I understand that. But you have to take the responsibility that you being a great player that you are, you have people looking at you. You have kids watching you. And if they see their favorite wide receiver or their favorite player doing those type of things, they think that they could replicate and do those same things when they go out and play in sports or just in life in general. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be mindful of that. But at the end of the day, I don't blame Jalen Ramsey whatsoever. If it was me, and I know it's easy for people to say, if this was me, this is what I would have done. But trust me, if luckily his teammates and people were able to get in between, because things could have gotten way worse. You don't spit on another grown man, bro. People lose their life for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what's been going on this year, but players been comfortable with doing stuff like that for, you know what I'm saying, for a lot this year. And I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Carter did that to Dak Prescott week 1. Spit right on him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't understand. There's nothing that somebody can say to me to get under my skin enough for me to want to spit on them. Spitting on someone means you have absolutely no respect for them whatsoever. That means you think they're less than the ground because you spit on the ground. I just feel like that's a hit to Jamarrchase's, him as a person. You just don't do that. And I think, honestly, the league was generous. One game, to me, is not enough. And I'm always for the players. I always go for the players. But one game is not enough. I feel as though this should be at least bare minimum a 2 to 3 game suspension without pay. Period. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not fair that, you know what I'm saying, the person who gets caught reacting has to, suffer the consequences. Jalen Ramsey was ejected from the ball game, even though Pittsburgh ultimately won. But you have people thinking that Jalen Ramsey just started tripping. The same thing happened the week before in the Washington-Detroit game with what's my man name? Daron Payne and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know what I'm saying? People was just thinking that my man Daron Payne just stole off on Amon-Ra St. Brown, when come to find out, Amon-Ra put his hands on him first. But Daron ended up being ejected for the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? It's just not right. And I think Jalen Ramsey, you know what I'm saying? I agree with everything he said. Once you spit on me, football is out the window. And I seen a quote from Mike Tomlin today that I loved. Hey, at the end of the day, do what you got to do as a man if somebody comfortable enough opening their mouth spitting on you. I'm just saying, Jamarrchase, you can't do that, man. And I feel like the league let you off easy because that should at least been a 3-game suspension at the max. Not only did you spit on him, but then you stood in front of cameras and lied about it to act like it's not cameras. But we live in a world nowadays where everything is recorded. Everything is recorded. So you should have already known it was going to come out that you did actually spit on him. But at the end of the day, man, it's just crazy. I'm on Jalen Ramsey's side 100% with this one. I think that the league let Jamarrchase off with a slap on the wrist, just suspending them for 1 game. I mean, let's keep it 100. The Bengals season over anyway, so 1 game ain't going to hurt them. You know what I'm saying? I feel as though this at least should have been a 2-3 game suspension. And I don't know, but maybe Jamarrchase is, his frustration is just starting to, show a lot more because the Bengals are having a losing season. They are out the playoffs already. You know what I'm saying? Joe Burrow got injured in week 2, and it's just been a complete poop show, all mostly for a majority of the year for the Bengals. And maybe his frustrations are just getting the best of him. Jalen Ramsey probably was saying some things that got under his skin, but at the end of the day, you don't allow somebody to get under your skin that much to where you feel like you got to disrespect them at that level, bro. And then in this game, you had 3 receptions for 30 yards, so he probably was letting you know that he was shutting you down or you was getting shut down. I don't know. But I don't feel like Jalen Ramsey could have said nothing to that extent that made you want to spit on him. You know what I'm saying? But the suspension has been brought down on Jamarrchase, so he'll miss the Cincinnati Bengals next game. I don't know what it is. Once I look at the schedule, I'll know. But right now, off the top of my head, I don't know who their next opponent is. But, yeah, it's just a crazy situation, man. But I'm 100% on Jalen Ramsey's side, and I wish they would have let Jalen Ramsey get a little bit more shots in on him, man, because like I said, you just don't do that to another grown man. You don't do that to another human being, period. You don't spit on another human being. I don't care what the situation is, what's said. You don't open your mouth and spit on another human being. You spit on the ground. And if you willing to spit on somebody, that means you think less of them than the ground, than the dirt. You feel what I'm saying? But y'all let me know down in the comment sections what y'all think about the situation. Did the league let Jamarrchase off easy? Whose side you on? Are you on Jalen Ramsey's side, Jamarrchase? Y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all thinking. I may comment back and let y'all know my feelings. I don't need to comment back and let y'all know. I just let y'all know my feelings. But y'all let me know what y'all think and, how this situation, how this whole thing panned out. Moving on next, we're going to stick to the field, NFL, man. So, finally, the time came on Sunday. Shedeursanders finally got his opportunity to get out there and play after Dillon Gabriel went down with a concussion. So I'm going to give y'all my thoughts on what I thought about Shedeur's performance after I read these quotes from Shedeur himself and what he felt about his own performance. And, so let me go ahead and dive into it. Cleveland Browns rookie Shedeursanders offered a blunt critique of his own performance in Sunday's loss to the Baltimore Ravens after being thrust into the game for injured Dillon Gabriel. Sanders was 4 of 16 with 47 passing yards. He was sacked twice and threw an interception. The Ravens used a Mark Andrews rushing touchdown to win the game 23-17. He spoke about his first pro snaps after the game. "I don't think I played good," Sanders said. "I don't think I played good at all. I think it's a lot of things we need to look at during the week and go and just get comfortable, even throwing routes, with Jerry Jeudy and throwing routes with all of those guys." So I think that was my first ball to him all year. But other than that, I just think overall we just got to go next week and understand, so then we have a week to prepare stuff I like to do. Sanders wasn't receiving first-team reps in practice before getting into the game. He started the season as the third-string quarterback and moved up to QB2 when the team traded Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals. He was asked what he thought went right in his performance. "Losing isn't something I'm comfortable with at all, so I just got to take this one. I got to take this one." He said, I got to decompress. I got to understand, this really happened, on my watch. I don't like the feeling, and I know offensively, if I'm able to get out there and have an opportunity, I know that I'll be able to take everything to a different level. Like I said, I still have the same confidence. I'm still me. I'll never go anywhere. Just going out there, seeing daylight, that's all I needed, to see how they move out there playing against a great defense. You got guys from the Pro Bowl out there, so it's it's exciting to see. Okay, that's what it's like. All right, this is what it's like. I'm excited for it. So I just got to take this one and build on it. Sanders said he was thankful for the crowd's reaction when he did get into the game. The Browns dropped to 2-8 on the season. The team has a road game against the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 12. I'm sorry, y'all. That was a lot. Reading these quotes, you actually reading the way that they talk. So my bad if it was a little long-winded or y'all felt like I was tripping in the reading. But, yeah, that was a crazy little sentence to read or whatever. But My thoughts on Shedeursanders getting his shot and what I thought of his performance. I thought that Shedeursanders played like a quarterback that didn't get no reps with the first team and was thrown out there in a situation after the starting quarterback got hurt. I don't know what people was expecting. You know, you had some people thinking that Shedeur was going to go out there and light it up and look like a franchise quarterback off the rip, and it just didn't happen. What he looked like is what I expected. He was put into a situation. The Browns have been setting Shedeur up to fail since they drafted him. Let's just keep it on it. From what I've known, me being a football fan, me watching football, and I'm talking about when I watch football, I watch from the offseason all the way through the regular season. I'm a football fan. What I know is from watching football, all quarterbacks get reps with the first team. To find out that Shedeursanders had been getting no reps with the first team at all, what did you think he was going to go out there and do? Put into a situation where Dillon Gabriel goes down and now he's just thrust out there. The offensive line is horrible. He doesn't have no rapport with the starting wide receivers. So for people to expect him to go out there and light it up, you are sadly mistaken. But the thing that I find so weird, bro, is other than Bronny James, I've never seen a collective group of people root for somebody to fail so bad. Like, other than Bronny James, Shedeur falls right in line. And how ironic is that? If you could put the puzzles together, I think y'all kind of can figure out why. But for people to be rooting against this young man, for him to fail so bad, it's just weird to me, bro. Like, I don't get it. Y'all the same people that was sitting there quiet as a church mouse watching Dillon Gabriel stink it up for weeks. They literally made a lowlights of Dillon Gabriel for minutes of his incompletions, him not being able to throw the ball 10 yards, and people were sitting back quiet as a church mouse when that was going on. But now that Shedeur goes out there and doesn't play good, when he's thrusted out there playing with receivers he haven't thrown to, or a terrible offensive line, now everybody up waving their pom-poms happy because he looked bad. Come on, bro, we got to cut it out. We got to cut it out. And another thing, too, I'm not a big fan of going at coaches, but I hope that Stefanski is fired after this year. Because the way that this whole Shedeursanders and the way that he's been handled throughout this entire season, I'm just not a fan of it. Because let's keep it 100. If Dillon Gabriel doesn't get hurt, he plays throughout that whole game, too, if he doesn't go down with an injury. Stefanski is watching Dillon Gabriel go out there and stink up the joint, and he still was going to keep him out there. They didn't want to play Shedeur. They just was put in a position where they had no choice. Anytime you're not giving this man reps with the starters, that right there just goes to show you're playing with me. They don't want to play him. But you got people in the background waving their pom-poms, happy. Oh, yeah, happy that, you know what I'm saying, he went out there and didn't play well. Of course he wouldn't play well. No quarterback will play well if they put in a position like that. But it's just weird, man. I just find it weird. But to answer my own question, my thoughts on Shedeur performance, he went out there and performed like I thought he would. He looked like a quarterback that was thrown into a situation that he wasn't prepared for. They set him up to fail. The Cleveland Browns set Shedeur up to fail. And I feel like they've been doing that all year since they drafted him. They drafted Shedeur to put butts in the seats and for, you know what I'm saying, sell merchandise, put them on social media, things like that. They never had no plans of really playing Shedeur. They never had no plans of that. That's why they ain't allowed him to practice with the first team. They didn't have no choice but to play him because Dillon Gabriel got hurt. Dillon Gabriel has been stinking up the joint for weeks, and they've been sitting back watching him and still didn't want to put Shedeur in the game. That tells you everything that you need to know. So for all y'all waving y'all pom-poms, happy that Shedeur went out there and played bad, congratulations. You got what you wanted. Now what? Dillon Gabriel's still garbage. He's still garbage, and I'm sorry. I hate to throw this on Dillon Gabriel, but he's still not a good quarterback. So regardless of if Shedeur went out there and played lights out or he didn't, Dillon Gabriel is still not your answer. And people using their hatred towards Deion Sanders to put it on Shedeur, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. And then I feel so bad because you dealing with that, and then the man home gets burglarized, you know what I'm saying, during the game. It's just a lot. But this Cleveland Brown organization is trash. The head coach is trash. Hopefully he's out of there after this year. The whole situation is just bad. And you know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate that Shedeur was drafted into this organization because all they wanted to do was use his image and likeness to put butts in the seats, to sell merchandise. That's all they wanted to use him for. They never really had no plan for Shedeur anyway, if we keeping it 100. And you could see that. But it's just ridiculous. But like I said, my thoughts on the whole situation is it went the way I thought it would. He looked like he was never prepared for the moment. He was thrown into a situation where they hoped that they got what they was hoping for. He didn't look good. He threw an interception. He was sacked. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't look good. And he almost threw a touchdown if the receiver could have held onto the ball at the end. But he ultimately dropped it. But hopefully, you know, with a full week of preparation as the starter, he goes and he plays well against Las Vegas. I'm going to be watching that game. Oh, that's like a garbage bowl right there. I'm sorry, but that's going to be a terrible game. But I'm definitely going to be watching to see how, after a full preparation, he gets some reps out there with the starters. He gets a full week to prepare as the starter. I'm definitely going to be out there. I'm definitely going to be paying paying close attention this Sunday to see, you know, how Shedeur looks this week. So y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all think. Grade his performance. What do you think he could have done better? Do you think the organization set him up to fail? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, man. And moving on, I thought, damn, so all my topics this week is football. So moving on, last night my Cowboys played on primetime and dominated the Las Vegas Raiders on the road. But the topic that came out of this, and this is something that's been kind of talked about all day, I seen that it was trending. Georgepickens went off last night. 144 yards and a touchdown after him and CeeDee Lamb was basically was punished during the first drive. Neither one of them played for disciplinary reasons from the coach. I don't know what happened. Full details haven't came out. But once they did come into the game, CD went for 66 and a touchdown, but Georgepickens went nuclear. And during the game, Cowboys great wide receiver Dez Bryant, you know, he's very vocal when it comes to the Cowboys. You know, he speaks his mind. One of the greatest receivers in Cowboys history. He had a tweet and a thought on Georgepickens. As we all know, Georgepickens was traded to the Cowboys this offseason. He's playing on the final year of his rookie deal. And, you know, the Cowboys got a tough decision to make. Georgepickens bet on himself, and right now he is winning that bet. So, as the Dallas Cowboys were defeating the Las Vegas Raiders 33-16 in Week 11's Monday Night Football matchup, former Cowboys star Dez Bryant shared some thoughts, which included a message to Dallas receiver Georgepickens. While the night didn't start great for Pickens, who along with CeeDee Lamb was benched for the Cowboys' first offensive series of the game, it ended great. Pickens caught 9 passes for 144 yards and had a touchdown reception. During the game, Brian shared some feelings about what was happening. One of his thoughts encouraged Pickens, who will be a free agent at the end of the season, to consider staying with the Cowboys even if they don't offer him the most money. The reasons: his legacy. Georgepickens, I want you to understand that whenever it's time to negotiate your new contract, your legacy will be worth more than being the highest paid wide receiver if you stay with the Cowboys, Brian said on X. There's a lot more to the thought process, but think about it. Monday's performance gives Pickens 58 receptions, 10th in the NFL, 908 receiving yards, 2nd in the NFL, and 7 receiving touchdowns, tied for 3rd in the NFL. So when it comes time to negotiate his deal, Pickens, who will turn 25 in the offseason, will likely be negotiating from a strong place. So first, let me get a sip of water. Secondly, let me let y'all know something, right? I love Dez Bryant. Dez is my guy. Hopefully I can reach this joint over here, and I can. This is how much I mess with Dez Bryant, right? I got an autographed picture in my window at home of Dez Bryant. Hopefully y'all can see that, right? Also, I met Dez Bryant a bunch, but Dez Bryant is a good guy. I respect where he's coming from. And when I read this quote, I seen people's reaction to it. And my first reaction when I thought about it was, let me use some common sense. What I think Dez Bryant was basically saying was that if George Pickens was maybe to take a little less money to stay in Dallas, that we see what happens to guys after football that were lifelong Cowboys and that were, great for the Cowboys. Look at Tony Romo. Look at Troy Aikman. I believe Dez Bryant is doing, well for himself. And if you pay attention to Dallas sports and stuff, you see a lot of former players with commercials and stuff benefiting from being with the Cowboys long term. So that's what I believe Dez was referring to when he said about your legacy with the Cowboys. If you were to take less money, stay in Dallas. There's no state tax in Dallas, so that less you may take still won't really be that much less with no state tax in Texas, and then in Dallas, and just the things that could happen off the field after football. My thing is with this. I get where Dez is coming from. I understand wholeheartedly. But, hey, man, you got to get that bag. I get it. George Pickens, go get your bag, bro. I understand where Dez is coming from. But this may be George Pickens' only bite at the apple that he gets. And you got to benefit from that. George Pickens, when he was traded to the Cowboys, he made it abundantly clear that he didn't want to negotiate until after the season. All of a sudden, everybody coming out with these big stories. Cowboys still haven't talked to George Pickens. The two sides haven't talked. George Pickens and the Cowboys both agreed and made it abundantly clear that they would not talk contract until after the season. We know that George Pickens has the same agent as Micah Parsons, and we know what just went down with the Cowboys and that agent and Micah Parsons, right? George Pickens bet on himself, and right now, that was a hell of an idea. He is winning that bet right now. George Pickens looks phenomenal. George Pickens looks like a top 5 wide receiver in football right now. And I think he mostly benefited, even though we know how close they are, we know their friendship. George Pickens benefited most when CeeDee Lamb was out with that ankle sprain, because he showed he can be a true number one. We all knew that. The biggest question mark was attitude. Would he be a locker room cancer? He has shown none of that this year in Dallas. And I don't know if it's because he's fighting for a contract, but I just think maybe, in Pittsburgh, he just felt like he wasn't being utilized to his potential. Look at their quarterback situation compared to Dallas. Now, don't get it twisted. I do believe that George Pickens is benefiting from CeeDee Lamb being on the other side. I do believe George Pickens is benefiting from the quarterback play we have in Dallas with Dak Prescott. People can say whatever they want, but Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback in this league. I do believe that George Pickens is benefiting off of that, but we got to give credit where it's due. George Pickens is playing out of his mind. And I think he benefited more so when CD was out, because he showed everybody, the whole league, that I can be a true number one. He hasn't been a problem in Dallas. All those cancer talks and him not being a good locker room guy and all those talks has slowly quieted down. And he's shown everybody that I can be that guy. Now, right now, I don't know what his contract would look like. But at first, when I first seen the numbers where he could request 36, 35 million, at first I looked at it and said, there's no way. Man, the way that he's played, George Pickens might be looking at 35, 36 million a year. Or at least somewhere around where CD's making at 34. And you got to also understand, other receivers that came out before George Pickens or at the same time as George Pickens has already got a bite at the apple. Justin Jefferson has gotten his. Jamarrchase. T. Higgins has gotten his. So George Pickens is behind the 8 ball. So I get where Dez Bryant is coming from. But George Pickens, you got to go get your bag, man. And if Jerry is all about what he's saying, his immortality, he's getting up there in age. If Jerry truly is a man of his word and is standing on everything that he's saying, he's going to find a way to get this deal done. I don't care if you got to franchise tag him. You cannot let George Pickens walk out of Dallas after the year that he's having. Whether Doc and CD got to push their money to the back, somebody got to take a pay cut here or there, something got to happen to where you keep George Pickens in Dallas. That's all I'm saying. Because George Pickens has been phenomenal. And the Cowboys, I believe if they do things right with the addition of Quinnen Williams, you able to keep Georgepickens, Javonte Williams. Look how he playing. He got to get paid. He only signed a 1-year deal. Georgepickens playing so good, people ain't even talking about how good Javonte Williams playing. And he got to get paid after this year. So you got to factor that in. But if the Cowboys could find a way to, do this thing the right way, man, we could be looking at the Cowboys being a serious contender next year. Who's to say they can't possibly go on the streak and become a playoff team this year? It may be a little far-fetched, but who knows? But, hey, Dez, you my guy. I got nothing but love and respect for you, but I'm on the side of Pickens going to go get that bag, man, because this may be the only shot that he got, and you gotta take full advantage of that. So that's my thoughts on it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think, but, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Go get that bag, man. I'm always for going to go get the bag. You got to go get that because you never know when you're going to have a chance to get it again. So, man, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Y'all know I got to give y'all my predictions for Week 12, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to make this quick, man, because I don't want my battery to down my joint. Y'all notice I done looked down a couple of times now. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of the way. Make sure I got the right schedule pulled up. Okay, I do. All right, man, so starting off at Thursday night, you got the Buffalo Bills on the road going up against the Houston Texans. I'm going to take Buffalo in that game. Big win this past week to bounce back from that embarrassing Miami loss. Beat Tampa Bay. Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns, threw for 3. I think threw for 3 and rushed for 3, if I'm not mistaken. But Josh Allen had a hell of a game. I think they continue that. They beat the Texans on Thursday night. Moving on, you got the Indianapolis Colts on the road versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I know the Chiefs just lost against the Denver Broncos on the road. It was close. I'm gonna take, even though the Colts have been playing phenomenal football, I'm gonna take the Chiefs to get their face back and win in Arrowhead. It's hard to win in Arrowhead, man. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs to get their face back against a good Colts team. But I'm gonna pick the Chiefs in that one. Next up, you got the Seattle Seahawks on the road versus the Tennessee Titans. I'm going with Seattle. Seattle get their face back after losing a close one to the Rams this past Sunday. I think they win this one comfortably against Tennessee. Tennessee is a dumpster fire. Next up, you got the Minnesota Vikings on the road versus the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay hasn't been. They won this past Sunday, but it was a little too close for comfort. I'm gonna pick Green Bay to win at home, and the only reason I'm gonna pick them because I don't trust JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy hasn't been that good to me, and I was a huge JJ McCarthy guy when he was coming out of Michigan, but he just hasn't looked good, and you never know what you're gonna get with Minnesota. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay in that one. Next up, you got the New York Jets on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm gonna take the Ravens in that one. The Ravens have put some wins together. They getting healthy. Lamar Jackson looking like himself. And, man, the Ravens could be competing to win that division. That might be the Ravens' only way to get into the playoffs is by winning that division. So I'm going to pick the Ravens in that one. I think they keep the streak going. Next up, you got the New York Giants on the road versus the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit wins that game comfortably. They get their face back after just putting up a stinker in Philly, only scoring but 9 points. They are better than that, and I think they're going to take their anger out on the Giants. I think they get their face back. Next up, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road versus the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers injured. More than likely, he's out. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears in that one. I think the Chicago Bears win that game, especially if with Aaron Rodgers not playing. I think Chicago wins that game. They should win it comfortably, but the Steelers, they're gonna put up a fight. So I think the Bears will win that one, but I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. And for some reason, the Bears, you want to root for them, but you never know what Bears team you're gonna get. But I'm gonna pick the Bears in that one. Next up, you got the New England Patriots going on the road playing the Cincinnati Bengals. No Jamarrchase for the Bengals. I think the Patriots win, and the Patriots win comfortably. Like I said on my last episode, I got the Patriots coming out of the AFC, and I'm sticking with it. They go on the road and beat the Bengals comfortably. Next up, you got the Garbage Bowl. I'm going to be watching just for Shedeur, but this game is PU. You got the Cleveland Browns on the road versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to go with the Browns in this one, man. I think Shedeur goes out there. I think he plays well and silence the haters, and I think the Browns get a close victory. I don't think the Browns going to blow them out because both the teams stink, but I think the Browns win this ball game in a close one. Next up, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road going up against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey, man, the Jaguars, you know, I don't know. Do the Jaguars got a shot to make the playoffs? What's the Jaguars? They 6-4. They lost their last game, I believe. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay, I'm tripping. I was thinking of the week before. So they lost to they let the Texans come back and beat them the week before, but they just punished the Chargers 35-6. And the Chargers, I keep telling y'all, they fools go, man. Hey, Jacksonville going. Hey, Jacksonville, they in the thick of things, man. So I'm gonna go with Jacksonville to go on the road and beat the Arizona Cardinals. You know the Arizona Cardinals, they another team not too good. They only show up against the Cowboys. They one of the teams that just show up when it's time to play the Cowboys. So I'm gonna go with the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one. Next up, you got, to me, which is going to be the game of the week. You got the Philadelphia Eagles on the road going up against the Cowboys. And this right here is going to be, I feel like if the Cowboys want a legit shot to somehow sneak into the playoffs, this is a must-win for the Cowboys. They have to win this game. They have to. Yes, you beat the Raiders. We know how terrible the Raiders is, but this is a game right here you have to win. Philly coming in off of 2 wins, but their offense has looked abysmal. The defense has been carrying for them. I think the Cowboys win this game. I think they win it in a close one. I think that Cowboys offense is spectacular with CeeDee Lamb, with Georgepickens, with Williams. If the offensive line is blocking, Dak Prescott has been playing out of his mind. I think that defense, they showed flashes yesterday. Now, they was going up against the Raiders, but they did show flashes. Quinnen Williams is a dog. He made instant impact, instant difference. I think the Cowboys win this game because that Philly offense has not been that good. It has not been good. They've been winning, but it's been on the back of the defense. And I believe there's some underlying issues with that Philly offense. I already said I think A.J. Brown is going to win out, but I think the Cowboys win this one. And the Cowboys need to win this one if they think they want a shot to make a sneaky run and get in the playoffs. Next up, you got the Atlanta Falcons on the road going up against the New Orleans Saints. And this one could be tricky because Michael Penix ain't playing, but Kirk Cousins is going to play. I'm still going to go with the Falcons. The Saints are horrible. I'm still going to go with the Falcons. I mean, I wanted to say this one could be a little interesting, but I'm going with the Falcons in this one. Next up, you got Sunday Night Football. You got the Buccaneers on the road versus the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm going to keep it 100. The Los Angeles Rams is a team that's winning. They just beat a hot Seattle team. They lead in their division. Hey, the Rams are a team that teams ain't talking about that could sneaky come out of the NFC. Now, I ain't going to jump out there and say it, but remember, they played Philly close last year in the playoffs in that snow game. I'm just throwing that out there, man. But people ain't talking about the Rams. Matthew Stafford is playing MVP ball. They got a two-headed monster in Williams and Corum in the backfield with Devontae Adams, with Puka Nacua. The defense can make plays. They got verse. You know what I'm saying? The Rams, they under the radar, but they are 8-2 right now, and they looking good. They looking good. I'm gonna go with the Rams to win on Sunday night. The Bucs got a lot of injuries, man. They got a lot of injuries. I think that Bucky Irvin situation is hurting them. No Mike Evans. I don't know what's up with Chris Godwin, and they've been battling health. Baker Mayfield has been playing out of his mind, but they've been looking kind of. But I think that's due to a lot. They dealing with a lot of injuries. So I'm gonna go with the LA Rams in that one. I think in order for the Bucs to win that game, the Baker's going to have to go out there and be on fire. You're going to need Ibuka. You're going to need, I believe, what's my man name? Skinny dude. I think it's Franklin. I might be saying his name wrong, but the wide receiver from Oregon, number 15. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And you just going to need those guys to step up. You're going to have to get something from the running game. I don't know who 44 was, but he had a hell of a game against Buffalo this past week. You're going to need him to do the same. I think that game going to be close, but I'm going to edge it to the Rams. I think the Rams win and go 9-2 and keep their streak going. Next up, you have the Carolina Panthers on the road versus the 49ers. And I know, if this was the old Carolina Panthers, people might scoff at this game. But Carolina has been playing some low-key good football. With them running backs, Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, Ted McMillan is balling. Ted McMillan, man, he might be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Ted McMillan has been playing some good football, man, and he's showing why he was deserving of that top 10 pick. This game right here, This one right here, this could be a good one. This could be a good one. And it all depends on what 49ers team you get. I'm going to go upset of the week, though. I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think the Panthers beat the 49ers on Monday Night Football. Bryce Young has been playing good. Look like he getting his confidence. Like I said, you got J.C. Horn on the defense. That defense can make some sneaky good plays. And that offense with that two-headed monster at the running back position with Ted McMillan playing the way he's been playing. Hey, man, this Panthers team, this team is shaking up to be good. And if they win, you know what I'm saying? If the Bucks lose, let's just say this is a scenario. If the Bucks end up losing on Sunday night, that'll make them 6-5. And if the Panthers win on Monday, the Panthers will be leading that division. They'll be leading the division, the NFC South. So it could be a lot on the table come Monday night, and I think the Panthers will answer that call. They've gained my respect with some of the wins that they've got this year. So I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers to upset the 49ers on Monday Night Football. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, man. Hey, y'all know where to find me each and every week. I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, continue to smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 400 subscribers. God willing, I can get there before the end of the year. But if not, it's all good. I appreciate y'all for supporting anyway. And also, do not forget to like this video and share the content when it drop, man. Click of a button, share it out to your peoples, man, and bring them on over, and let's keep building this thing, man. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all next time.